Hello, everyone. Welcome to day one of VCT Game Changers APAC Elite, the premier event for this year, capping off the circuit. I'm Zach, and with me here is my lovely co-caster, Matt Datum, and we are absolutely stoked to be bringing you the first series of matches today. We're going to be starting off with an absolute banger, which is none other than the reigning queens of APAC, Alter Ego Celestè, versus new challengers, W Streak Female.
Yeah.
But before we get into the details, hey Matt, how are you doing?
I am feeling absolutely stoked. As you mentioned, Zach, this is the concluder for 9 months long of tournament. 9 months. We started in February and we're still ongoing. This is the final leg of our stages of calendar of events. It's elite, and the winner, of course, is going to be qualifying for a certain tournament you might have heard of happening in Berlin. But let's run it back a bit, talk about that a little bit later, because the games we have today, Zach, are absolute bangers. For those of you who don't know, guys, we have 2 streams up and going right now. This is the second one, and we have another one in the main channel of FSL. Do check that out for the other string of matches. But gotta say, Zach, games we have today, action-packed. Can't wait to start them.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the teams that have qualified for the event. Like you mentioned, it's been an onerous task over the past 9 months, but these are the top 8 teams that have qualified for this event, and only one will be left standing with as a victor. Only one will be going to the International Berlin land to represent APAC, so the stakes are super high. Today, we're going to be looking at Alter Ego Celestè, W Streak, SMG, and I believe none other than Rising Hope. Yes. Also, who used to be under another name, but I'm so glad they got picked up by an org finally. And these are the 4 that we're going to be we're going to be casting today and basically fangirling/boying about.
Absolutely. I mean, all of these girls, they're all hot on their heels, right? I mean, sure, there have been ups and downs for all of them all throughout the year. A couple of changes here and there for everyone. But let's take a look at the bracket, or rather the prize pool first. What everyone's going to be competing for. Here comes the breakdown of the 35,000 US dollar prize pool. But what matters more here for our teams is that 1 seed that APAC has for that Berlin champs in the Game Changers. Only one. That's right, Zach. Only 1 team is going to be able to make it to that final slot. And, well, everyone's going to be up and competing, giving it all they've got to get to that spot. And what better way to start it off than with the reigning queens, as you mentioned. The first matchup, as you said earlier, it's going to be between Alter Ego Celestè and W Streaks Female. We have the bracket shown up right now. On the other stream, we have Orangutan versus Zol Meraki, Brent Victus versus X10 Sapphire, and we're going to be showcasing SMG versus Rising Hope as well. I like that you brought that up, actually. Rising Hope recently picked up by that new organization, but these girls, ever since the latter half of our Game Changers year, they've been performing really well, if I might say so.
They definitely have, but you know, for this particular tournament, I'm wondering how it's going to turn out, because they did end up losing one of their biggest players from their roster, none other than Aluka. In fact, we're going to be seeing her in game number 1 today, because she ended up joining none other than Alter Ego Celestè. I have good authority sources that say that she is going to be the primary duelist for the team, but let's see if this pan out. And yeah, before we talk more about the rosters, let's take a look at who exactly is going to be playing for each team before we head into the meat of the details.
Yeah. I mean, result right there. Zach, as you mentioned, Aluka has made it into the Alter Ego Celestè roster, and it's Ophelia that actually got that were subbed out, or rather not in the team anymore. And that really begs the question, has Alter Ego Celestè adjusted to that change? Because remember, our Ophelia is the IGL, the acting in-game leader of Alter Ego Celestè for the most part in this whole year. So is Aluka gonna be able to fill those shoes in the biggest tournament of the year for them? It's the question we're gonna answer today.
Definitely is, and that's the IGL in question is one thing, but one more when it comes to alter ego is the fact of the roles that they play now.
Mm,
Oreophilia was their dedicated controller player. Ayumi did pick up the role sometimes, but most of the time it was Oreophilia, and Aluka is known mainly to play Chet. Let's take a look at some of the head-to-head stats we have for both of these teams, so we get an idea of what exactly we're going to be dealing with today. Looking at the duelist slash initiator role, first off,
mm.
well, this particular player, she needs no introduction. If alter ego are known as the reigning queens of APAC, well, this young lady is the reason, one of the main reasons for it, honestly. And her name is Eneri. By the end of this tournament, you will all learn to chant it because she is
Yeah.
absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like everyone's heard of Eneri one way or another. I feel like if you're playing against Eneri or Alter Ego Celeste in general, Eneri's name is going to strike fear into your hearts. But the player right across from her in this featured matchup is Nuki. I feel like Nuki's contribution to the team here is a little bit goes by a little bit unnoticed because unlike Eneri's spotlight performance, where typically the highlight reels always seem to feature her, Nuki sort of play back a little bit, gives more of the setup for her team, and the stats definitely reflect it. And she definitely has the aim to back it up, and I feel like that really shows it's the stark contrast between the personalities of these two teams. Alter Ego Celeste, they really put the spotlight on their heavy fragging power, right? I mean, when the year started off, they've always been this type of team where you look to for highlight plays. Meanwhile, with W Streaks, they tend to play a little bit more towards the slower side, but when you got Nuki on a good day, it's just looking so good. It seems like you don't need as much frags as you do, and that's mostly because of Nuki's setups.
Yeah, so this is even more impressive considering that Ineri is the star duelist for Alter Ego and
Mm.
Yuki. Here's a fun fact about her. Before she got picked up by W Streak, she used to play for a team called Arista. And they're the only agent that she played. She might change things around sometimes, but most of the time, she was always on that Reina.
Yeah.
And we all know how difficult it is to play Reina in these kind of lobbies. So the fact that when she moved over to W Streak, she was able to switch over, pick up that initiative role, and she still performs incredibly well on that Sky and that KO. So she's definitely one of the players to watch out for. But yeah, I genuinely think we're gonna be having a really close series on our hands today if
Absolutely.
WSG keep their form up.
Absolutely. But I believe we are ready with the map vetoes just concluding now. So let's show that on the screen right now. Zach, what maps are you going to be expecting here? I would like to see some Haven because both of these teams are absolutely amazing on it. And there you have it. We've been blessed by W Streaks. They will be picking up the first map, Haven. Second, we're going into Breeze. Now, I'm a little bit worried here because W Streaks lets Breeze slip up through the cracks. But in that regard, I feel like there's a couple of maps that come into mind when you think about how well Alter Ego Celeste perform in. Going into Ascent, though, I feel like it is a bit of a 50-50. What do you think?
I mean, if you look at I think Alter Ego Celeste have like the biggest map pool to really work with from APAC. There are very few maps that they're not really comfortable on, and I think that when you're W Streak were in a situation where they had to ban like Alter Ego's most successful maps, which they did. They banned Fracture, which Alter Ego are absolute beasts on, and they also did end up banning Pearl, which perhaps being an LCQ team themselves. Qualifying, they might not have had the confidence or the time to really prep for it. So the bans make perfect sense to me. As for Breeze being picked up by Alter Ego, this is like you mentioned, it is surprisingly it is not one of their stronger maps.
That's true.
It's still pretty strong because well they are Alter Ego, but compared to let's say Icebox or Bind, which they did end up banning, it's a map which they almost never play comparatively, and they. Despite them having like a pretty significant win streak, this is a map that they do end up losing quite often to teams like SMG and Brent Victress. So it's going to be interesting seeing that they've chosen that particular map first.
Yeah, and you know what makes it even more interesting is that the whole year, W Streaks have yet to drop a single Breeze map. So Alter Ego Celeste picking that map up means that it's kind of like a power move, right? They're saying, okay, you haven't lost in this map, we'll give you one. Let's see if that's actually going to happen because, that is the second map. After all, the first map, Haven.
Hmm.
Speaking of maps that teams have yet to drop a single time this year, Alter Ego Celeste, they haven't lost a single Haven map this whole year. So it's kind of like the mind games going on, right? W Streaks Haven isn't particularly their strongest map. Throughout the course of the year, they have played 8 maps, or rather 8 Havens in total. Not necessarily the most convincing of maps for them, but with the recent changes in the meta and the recent changes in Alter Ego Celeste as well, who knows what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that behind the scenes, both of these teams have put in a lot of labor and a lot of thought into deciding what exactly they want to be playing on. Because, come on, it's like there's nothing at stake here, right? It's just a slot to Berlin. That's that's really at stake. So I'm sure that they've both put in an ample amount of time in researching and studying what exactly they will be picking up. But for W Streak in particular, the fact that Alter Ego, their first ban was Icebox, this is very interesting because this is one of the maps that W Streak actually
That's
have
true.
played quite a bit, and they have a lot of practice on it. Same with Bind. So, in fact, Bind, Ascent, and I believe Icebox are W Streak's most played maps. And the fact that Alter Ego were able to ban 2 of them right off the bat, it shows that they also aren't exactly taking their opponents lightly. They are treating them with respect. Sure, they are saying like we'll take Breeze and win it anyway, but apart from that, they're still happy to play a proactive game and make sure that neither of these teams are letting their opponents have their favorite map, so as to speak.
Yeah, absolutely true. But we have to remember that ever since we've last seen both of these teams, gotta remember Alter Ego Celeste qualified in stage 1. That's how many moons ago. W Streaks, they qualified very recently only in LCQ. So Alter Ego Celeste, I would argue they've had a little bit more time to prep up, but also they've had so much, I guess, space between their last competition here in Game Changers that there's already so many changes, not just in the meta, but also in their roster. They picked up Redco as their head coach. They've
Mm-hmm.
also changed up their roster. Orifila gone out, Aluka gone in. So it makes you wonder just what look Alter Ego Celeste is going to show us. Meanwhile, W Streaks, they've looked pretty good. Not gonna lie, they've looked pretty good quite recently, and they've had a couple of changes as well. So really, I think it's a 50-50. Let's just lay out our predictions right now here, Zach. It's a best of 3, so there's a little bit of time for adaptation for both teams. But what do you got for me when it comes to predictions?
If I'm going to be brutally honest, I
Mm.
think that it's very likely that we're going to be seeing a 2-0, but I think that Breeze might go into like overtime.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't put it past W Streak to take it to map 3, but I'm betting on Alter Ego to win this. That's about it. Pretty safe
Yeah,
bets.
I I think if we go into map number 3, that's where it gets a little bit scary for Alter Ego Celeste, right? Because we talked about how big of a map pool Alter Ego Celeste have and how comfortable they are in so many maps. Ascent isn't necessarily one of those maps where they are
Yeah,
where they're
that's fair.
comfortable. Actually, I would argue that Ascent is the only map where they aren't really comfortable. The stats, while they are stats for all purposes sake, they still are indicative of just how well you perform in that particular area. And throughout the run in Ascent, Alter Ego Celeste have seemingly struggled for some reason. And if we go into that area, if we reach the 1-to-1 line, that's where W streak, sorry, can strike. So I really am a little bit worried, but if we do see the Alter Ego Celeste that we've come to know and love for the whole year, I feel like if they will be able to secure that dominating run, or rather if they secure that momentum from game number 1, I feel like it should be an easy 2-0 for them.
I think so as well. And Alter Ego Celeste, they're a team where if they gain the momentum, they just run away with it.
Mhm.
I think that they are they have some of the most dominating games we've seen over the course of the year. So I don't know if we'll be seeing that kind of domination coming in today. I actually don't know what we have in store apart from their roster players right now, because I think I had to speak to Redco about their roster for VLR, and he told me that this is a quote from him directly: the alter
Mhm.
ego that you're going to be seeing in Elite is going to be unlike any other alter ego you've seen. So I'm kind of scared for W
Ooh.
Streak.
And I feel like it's about time that Alter Egos Celeste changed up their playstyle, right? For the most part, it's been the high octane double duelist sort of setup that they've always had. So we're so heavy on the frags. So So a new look from them would absolutely be a sight to behold. And I believe we're ready with the players. The game is ready here, Zach. So let's get right into
Woo!
it with the agent select screen here in Haven. What would you be expecting to see? Because honestly, for Alter Ego, I feel like anything could be shown here, especially with what you said about what Redco said that we will
Yeah.
be showing. And surprise, surprise.
Hmm. Starting things off, it is going to be Aluka who is picking up the smoke. Interesting choice because I don't think I've ever seen Aluka play anything apart from Jet or sometimes the Reyna. So I'm interested to see how this is going to be panning out here for the team. Iceburst on the usual initiator, Napski as well. This time when they're switching it up, you do see them go for the sky sometimes, but it's going to be the Fade coming in. Ayumi, no changes there. She is going to be going with her usual chamber. And yeah, the Napski and Neri combo is what I'm looking forward to. But W Streak's team comp now, Matt, this is pretty interesting. It's actually gorgeous.
Yeah. Tripling down for that matter on the utility. They got the Neon, they got a KO into a Breach combo. That's not necessarily the most common of things to see in Haven, and makes me wonder what kind of tempo W Streaks wants to play this. I mean, for sure, it's indicative of them wanting to play it a little bit slow, and that is the signature of W Streaks. But as we mentioned, momentum is a massive playing factor here, especially playing against Alter Ego Celeste. And that Neon, not necessarily it's counterintuitive, right? When you have a Neon that runs around the map, you would think they want to play quick, they want to play aggressive. But the thing is, you gotta note, when you play a Neon, you can't really be as aggressive as you can as, say, something like on a Jet or maybe even on a Reyna. So W Streaks, I definitely am not sure what their game's playstyle is so far, but one thing for sure, Zach, they have a lot of utility to their side.
Yeah, the utility. Already you can see Nuki getting that first ult orb and making sure to get that null command online. Mimi as well, peeking aggressively towards mid. Might spot out Nabsky here if she swings at the right time, but instead it's going to be the Haunt that is going to give away information that there is at least one player towards B, though we're not going to be sure exactly who it is. In the meantime, though, Alter Ego, after causing this pattern moving down towards mid, they are going to be running it down towards the C side instead off the back of the utility from Ineri and Aluka. The combination will completely clear the site out, and they're going to be able to get the spike down just like that. Ineri will be drawing the first blood in the series, and just like that, we're looking at a 4v5 retake. Navsky as well holding down the forts with Ayumi in mid, and suddenly this round is looking so bleak for W Streak right now.
Yeah, beautiful split right there for Alter Ego Celeste, giving them the site for basically free there. Taking one kill as well in the hands of Ineri, leaving Cupcake and Noxy, the last two fending off, trying to defuse the spike right here. A couple of smokes to help them out, but they're getting closed up on Alter Ego Celeste. There you have it. They pick up the pistol, and well, Zach, even though that was very, very methodical, it was still very, very quick, very characteristic of Alter Ego Celeste. But I gotta say, I love how they started off the game right there.
I gotta visit the Astral to play some stars.
Yes, you do indeed have to do that. But, you know, I really like the execute that they had coming in. The coordination between the Breach, the Raze, and the Astra to just completely, just with utility being able to clear out the C side. That was some phenomenal play coming in. They're going to be going down towards A side this time to try that kind of a hit. But there is a 3-stack coming in from W Streak Female here. Right off the bat, that Breach stun is going to put a little bit of a slowdown to Ineri's push into A there from long. 3 players towards a short area, but no one from Alter Ego is really even trying to go there. So this should be very interesting to see how this round pans out.
Yeah. It's 3-stack in A side, as I mentioned, and it seems like W Streaks, they've got wind of this round 2 strat from Alter Ego Celeste. But again, it's a 3-2 split. 2 members working their way up in C side this time, while 3 of them stacking up in A long. And Aries leading the charge with the Guardian. At this point, or rather at this moment, the most firepower that any of these players have in Alter Ego Celeste's side. But again, look at this strategic push down in C. They're gonna be spotted out here by Cupcake, who will be good for 1 against Aluka, but unaware that there's already a Yumi in C side. Rotate's now coming in. And he's getting pushed up as well by Ineri. What a shot to open things up here in Garage. Rating things out, so... Could be
Spike
a
planted.
little bit more scary here for Mimi to push up, but it's a retake here, 4v4, Zach.
Indeed, and the weaponry is definitely massively in the advantage of Alter Ego here. Even the Spectre that was dropped is not going to be able to get retrieved by the players from W Streak. It is going to be Ayumi with the Bulldog trying to do damage, but Mimi is going to be connecting that perfect headshot right now. And yet again, look at the positioning from these Alter Ego players. Everybody is going to be down towards long, all the utility and all the firepower in the world to really take these long-range fights and make them work. But Mimi somehow already finding the second as well with the Headhunter. Even if there's no time left and Alter Ego win it, it's been so expensive for them. They've lost 3 of their players. They've lost a Bulldog and a Spectre to boot, and the remaining players from W Streak aren't going to be giving them the kills either. So it's going to really like put a damper onto charging up those Ultorms. So Alter Ego, they do take that second round. The anti-eco gets converted, but at what cost is going to be the question, because right now this bonus is looking a little bit scrappy for these players from Alter Ego. They do still have that Guardian and the Bulldog, but aside from that, it looks like possibly we're going to be seeing only pistols coming in for them.
Yeah. Gotta say though, I love the prep showing up for both of our teams here though. Round number 2, that was kind of expected for Alter Ego Celeste to win, right? But even though that was the case, W Streak still put up such a good round number 2 there. Here we go again with the explosive start this time. W Streak's a little bit faster on the get-go as Dolph picks up Eneri. And that's one of the biggest guns here on for Alter Ego. And Mimi, so deep here in mid, will be escaping with her life as she picks up one. Now it's a 3v5, Alter Ego Celeste. Those guns are really making a headache for them. So find any more of this damage. Remember, this is just the bonus round here. So Alter Ego Celeste, after losing round number 2, or rather after winning round number 2 and losing 3 members, doesn't really have a lot of resource to commit into this round. But they're still going to attempt the A side push here. Haunt comes out. Dolph makes a little bit of noise as she gets concussed and blinded by the Prowler. Knife from Nuki is going to aid her out a little bit, but I don't think Dolph's going to be able to run out of there anytime soon. As she does. Okay, he does. Anyway, Flash comes out. A lot of time spent on the white screen, but Nabsky picks up 2. One more kill than Nuki does. So this actually makes things a little bit awkward here for W Streak's female, but still have one more member than Alter Ego Celeste have, and Ayumi and Nabsky have a massive task if they want to push down in B side. No more Hunt available. Ghost in hand, Nabsky falls, and the next one up the chopping block is going to be Ayumi. Noxy will be securing the first round on the board for W Streaks.
No, talking about that particular round, let's break it down a little bit. You saw that aggression towards A from Dolph. They're able to pick up Eneri is just huge because that takes away the most powerful weapon they had, the Guardian, but also it just takes away all the utility that Eneri really brings to the table. Similar with Mimi, again, they're not afraid to contest mid against Alter Ego on these half-by rounds, trying to get that initial advantage. Though Alter Ego, they almost pulled it back. They managed to get 2 picks of their own and make that round at least expensive for W Streak. You do see that Dolph is forced to play with only a Spectre, and yet again, look at this positioning from Mimi. Not afraid to push outside B and hold that angle, ready with the teleport as well to make things worse. Alter Ego, last time you saw them running down towards A. This time around, they're going a little bit slower. Already though, Dolph is going to be pushed up super aggressively, and in that close range fight, that Spectre might be exactly what they need to really convert this round. However though, that Prowler being invested, I don't know if it's going to spot out anything, but Eneri nevertheless is going to choose to not be like overconfident. They are going to clear it out with some utility, and Dolph will barely be able to get away with her life.
Yeah, we'll be able to though. That's the key thing for W Streaks here. Still a 3-stack in A side, and that means that Alter Ego Celeste can, well, they can try to push up here in A. Wouldn't necessarily be the best idea. And Neri still aggressing towards that long areas. They haven't invested their smokes as of yet, but seemingly have decided to push down in A side for the moment. 36 seconds is not a lot of time left, but there goes the flashpoint. Mimi makes a little bit of noise in mid. 1v1 between her and Ayumi, and Ayumi still wins the swing. Ever so slowly she peaks. And here comes the rotate from Alter Ego Celeste off the back of that one frag.
looking very dangerous
Oh,
right now
Ayumi.
as Ayumi finds a second as well, opening up the seaside completely. Nobody anywhere close to the garage area either, and Aneri is going to be the
10
one on the
seconds
lurk
left.
holding the rotates this time.
Wow.
Spots out Nuki, unfortunately caught in the open there, gets that kill. Noxie's at least able to trade it out, and Tolf will be able to pick up that upgrade, but it is going to be a 2v4 retake right now for W Streak Female. They do have some flashes, some utility left to work with, but yet again, from Alter Ego, the discipline, despite having the numbers advantage, they're not afraid to go down towards long and just play for a post plan, going for those triple and double peaks to really try and prevent any kind of economic damage on their end as well. It is going to be Noxie finding 1-2, in fact, after death with the help of that aftershock. It's all down to just Dolph here in this 1v2, spots out one, but she doesn't know where exactly Aluka is. And where is Aluka? She's been creeping up garage. She's going to be getting that last kill on the round. And Alter Ego, they find 3. Not just that, I think that that's also going to be an economic reset coming in for W Streaks off the back of that.
Yeah, at this point, W Streaks has got to stop being wary of these lurks. I mean, take a look at what Ayumi did here, creating so much space. And then when Ayumi joined the team, and Neri took up those shoes. She was the one that's lurking now. And Alter Ego Celeste are so good at creating space where W Streaks are not expecting them to do so. I mean, typically you expect teams when they go for the seaside plant, they go and take a little bit more space up in maybe C link or in the defender side spawn, but no, they leave one lurking member at least behind. That's really has been the headache here for W Streaks. Now they're on the sheriff, so not gonna be the easiest of rounds to secure, but that's why they are aggressing this time. Mimi in C long. Not a lot of noise being made by Dolph this time around, just holding down in a short. But Alter Ego Celeste still giving them so much respect. Ayumi though, so consistent in winning these duels.
You know, even the last round, Ayumi, she, I believe that it was the opposite chamber, Mimi, who had the drop on her. She spotted her first, but not being able to connect that first shot caused so much pandemonium. And it's the same case yet again, despite the initial advantage in these duels, the first peaker advantage, they're the first to catch sight of these Alter Ego players. But W Streak Female, they're just not able to close out these aim duels, really. However, though, towards the short angle, it is going to be Noxie who goes unchecked. So that is going to be the first pick, at least that goes in the favor of W Streak Female finally.
Wow.
However, the trades are very quick. The A side has been taken as well, and it's just going to be Cupcake left with nothing but a sheriff in this 1v4. And again, Alter Ego, you talked about their map control. I also want to talk about their ultimate management, because you know, in this 5th round, they're going to be having almost all of their ultimates online by the next round, and that is just 5 rounds. It's insane. But talking about insane, what a shot from Cupcake.
Yeah.
3 left to find. How many more can she do is the question, but the crossfire is going to be too strong to break. And yet again, Aluka is going to be the one to get that last pick and clean things up. Alter Ego 4-1.
Yeah, 4-1 here. Not a lot of damage done here for W Streaks as Alter Ego. That means that the bank is slowly being built up. And at this point, Alter Ego Celeste, this is where it starts getting a little bit iffy for W Streaks here. Because remember, when you give them that momentum, Alter Ego Celeste, they just run away with it. But the way they're doing so in this round definitely showcases how much prep comes into Haven for them. Not just in Haven, but in general for them. But Dolph trying to be that aggressor, trying to nip that momentum in the bud, so to speak. But so far, not too much avail as she gets shut down once more. And Neri gets traded out this time around, but they're taking care of Dolph. So that's the aggressor that's always constantly pushing them up. And Alter Ego Celeste, they know that they have shut that down preemptively. But Mimi's still here up close though. Ayumi, again, dry peeking these fights over and over again. So if she peeks Mimi here, it's gonna be what, the 4th 1v1 between these chambers. And with the Tour de Force online, you know that Ayumi is gonna be so deadly with it. Unless she's not expecting it. She's moving up so close here, Zach, and she's gonna be not gonna be checking the corner. This time Ayumi goes down a little bit early in the AECL, but in a little bit of an awkward spot. 3v4.
30 seconds left on the clock. They have to make a commit somewhere, and it seems like that is going to be the C side. However, there is Cupcake still playing on site. The Nightfall is going to be invested, and off the back of that, they're able to find that first pick. Noxy, though, with that DK, tries to swing out and get a pick, but Aluka will take her down as well. The flank, though, is immaculate from Mimi. Finds one, and that's going to be the spike dropped as well. In this 2v2 with 10 seconds, and the spike has to go down, but the flash push from Yuki is perfect. 6 seconds left. The spike has to go down now. There's no time on the clock. Aluka has to stick it here, but I think that the clock, it didn't run out. Oh no, it didn't. I actually thought it ran out, and so did Mimi. But yeah, Alter Ego at the last second. Aluka gets the clutch, and that was a chaotic round. But breaking it down from the start, yeah, Aluka gets the first, gets the second as well. While the spike tries to go down, things get back down to a 2v2 because of this beautiful flank from Mimi, and Mimi thinks that she's bought enough time for this round to go in their favor. But at the end of the day, it is nevertheless going to be Aluka, the last one standing. And Alter Ego, I think they were going to be very happy about signing this particular player, especially after that one particular round.
Yeah, the newest addition to the team, Aluka, starting off strong here in round number 5. What a massive performance from her. 4K, last one standing into the clutch. And here comes again the aggression coming in from Inari, opening up C site just like that, with nobody to meet her actually. So again, that's going to be a secured plant here for Alter Ego Celeste, going in for the lurk here. Aluka with the opener against Nuki, as she's actually getting pummeled by so many of these players. Look, Rolling Thunder comes out, and this is the control that Alter Ego Celeste this time is asserting over and over again. They go for the C-Long, but this time they push up to Cupcake, who was not expecting it at all. Look at Ayumi though, getting dinked on, but 5 HP left. She's gonna have to hold this C-Long angle, because look at the plant. This is gonna be very, very scary, but she gets concussed after getting that kill. Gonna have to get a little bit more though. Noxy pushing up. One to their side. Mimi shuts down Inari, but Diffuse. Oh, what? Noxy versus Iceberg! And Nabsky actually will be the one to secure the final kill, but that was too close for comfort for Alter Ego.
You know, I believe that if anybody had just tuned in on this particular round, they would have been very confused as to who exactly the attackers and the defenders are. Especially, like, look at how Yumi's playing. It's like she's the defender for the site, as opposed to somebody who's just trying to play post-plant. But yeah, a beautiful round coming in from both of these teams. And at the end of the day, Alter Ego does win it. But like you mentioned, Matt, it was too close for comfort by the end of it. And just like that, we're going to be looking at a timeout coming in, I believe. I mean, it's a good call, because so far, Alter Ego, they've only lost that bonus round where they had a lesser buy coming in from W Streak. And, you know, so many of these rounds, W Streak, it's not like they're starting off at a disadvantage. They do, in fact, manage to get the first pick so many of the times, or at least they get traded out evenly. But it seems like after their initial planning or aggression or whatever kind of strategy they have in place, once it comes to mid-round, it seems like they're struggling to adapt with the pace changes and the map control that Alter Ego are time and time again putting forth.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I love the reactive play here for Alter Ego Celeste, right? I mean, constantly when we see a C push or a C plant for them, they always set up in the C long angle. This time, they leave one member lurking, Aluka for that matter, waiting for those lurkers. And when she spotted out that there was at least 2 members coming in from the attacker side spawn, they instantly adapt their strategy. Even though the spike was planted for C long, they reasserted their control up to the defender side spawn, which actually made it so that they still had control going into that post plant. I mean, sure, it wasn't the cleanest of rounds, but they were able to secure it still. This time though, W Streak's back on the gun. They're putting Mimi on the operator, and Alter Ego Celeste, let's see this time what they're going to be showing up with. This time, they actually started off with a little bit of mid-aggression. They showed this a little bit earlier with Ayumi being that lurker, but actually going to be playing off a little bit more slowly. They might be expecting this operator pickup from Mimi, who has been such a good operator user time and time again. So if they walk up to it, especially in Neri, there goes the flash. Great bait off the TP out of there. And it's seemingly, W Streaks, they want to give away a site. They seemingly want to go for the retake. And is that actually the best strat for them right now, Zach?
I mean, it's not a bad idea considering everything that they have. They do have that Rolling Thunder ready to go as well as that Overdrive from Dolph. So in conjunction, these two can just absolutely demolish players on who are trying to play post plant on site. But I don't know if it's gonna exactly work out because Alter Ego they have demonstrated time and time again that they like to play post plant off site. So the Rolling Thunder might not find as much value. But talking about finding value, it's gonna be Aluka posted on the lurk to watch the flank who gets that first pick, turning this from a 5-on-5 retake to a 5-on-4, gets the second as well onto Dolph. Okay, Nuki does finally manage to stop the bleeding with one of her own, but that's gonna be all she gets because Harry with the satchel manages to do some damage, but Cupcake still holds strong, gets two before finally walking into Ayumi's operator. And that particular round, especially he talks about how it seems like W Streak are trying to play for the post plant. I'm sorry, for the retake. It just seemed like with Iceberg going, with their breach player going down, they just did not have the ultimate ready, and the retake completely fell apart. And yet again, it shows that they're not really prepared or confident about their mid-round calls. They keep that. I think that's their real weak point, and just like that, it is going to be an economic reset coming in for them on this particular round.
Yeah, exactly. That mid-round sort of adaptation between these two teams is really what's shining here for Alter Ego Celeste. I feel like when it comes to those pinch situations where they're pressured to do things off the book, that's where Alter Ego Celeste really shine. And Ayumi shining in her own right as she picks up two from the get-go. That leaves W Streaks down to the last three. But of course, it's the eco for them. But Ayumi still terrorizing down in a site. She's looking for the ace now after that 3K. Cupcake's position has been noted, so that means that Alter Ego, they're going for the A side push instead. Really, this is what I love about Alter Ego Celeste, right? Even though they're so far ahead, even though they're running with the momentum, they still have so much respect here for the last two members of W Streaks that they don't want to necessarily risk it. But, of course, they're putting a little bit of an insurance in the form of Inari and Aluka here, both posting up in B and C long. Look at Inari. Nobody's found her yet. He's gonna pay for it big time, so will Mimi. And there comes the flawless for Alter Ego Celeste. 8-1 now, Zach, and they're starting to run away with the game here.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, this map is one of Alter Ego's best maps, but it is also W Streak's pick, and I was really excited to see what exactly they were going to be, they had planned for it. They did start off really strong, but like you mentioned, Alter Ego, they're a team that tend to really use the momentum to propel themselves even further, and that's exactly what's happening. 8-1, and yet again, they have almost all of their ults online. Inari and Iceberg are only one away from their respective ults. However, for the side of W Streak, they already have theirs charged up. They have the Rolling Thunder. They have a lot of pillable, but while Cupcake is trying to put down smokes to play around, Inari just manages to walk or barge into side. I don't think that counts as knocking politely. It's more of like, yo, let me in. It is party time to boot. The showstopper will be a Rosa ult, but off the back of that, they already have control of the defender spawn. Oh my god.
Here, look at this position again. Noting two members lurking from C long. Aluka trying to hold the line. And she knows that there's a couple of members pushing up against her, but they still don't check her! And now Noxy and no.
Teleport's ready.
Blocking vision.
Oh, this is why people are so terrified of Inari that particular round. But also like the way Aluka is playing, it's pristine. Like she does everything you'd expect out of that controller role and more. And of course, just the constant lyric and aggression combination coming in from Alter Ego is just something that W Streak seem to have no counter against. Or just like that, it is going to be some pressure applied towards the A side with that boombot already. You can see the rotation coming over with just that one piece of utility. 3 players right now on that A side. C is going to be completely open as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, actually, this time, Streaks have 4 of their ults available, so could be a round that they convert if they find a frag or 2. And of course, it's not gonna be the easiest of feats to accomplish, considering how powerful the duels have been for Alter Ego Celeste. But still, lot of respect here. Neri leading the charge yet again, this time in Garage, and here comes Rolling Thunder trying to shut down Cupcake, and they will do so. And Neri with the opening pick once more. Here comes the plant. It's going to be the counter Rolling Thunder early here just to deny the plant. The Cosmic Divide is going to be there in response, but the flash is going to stop them altogether from getting into sight. Look at Dolph. Can't even walk up just because of the sheer utility usage, as it's down to Dolph and Nuki now. But Spike is being permitted down into B up in C long. Here comes Dolph. Everything on this frenzy, but she gets shut down by Nabsky, so it's all down to Nuki now. After investing a couple of ults, it's going to be translated to nothing as Alter Ego Celestè walk away with another flawless.
At this point, the game is just falling apart for W Streak right now. Especially, you know, let's look at that last round, right? They did invest a lot of ultimates, the Rolling Thunder, as well as the Overdrive, but it was completely just put to a stop by one ultimate, and that was Alucard's Cosmic Divide. It just stopped the push coming in. They couldn't get past that, and the crossfires being held by the Alter Ego players. They went in one by one, and they died one by one. And again, this quick thinking and ability to really like change plans and tactics as per the round, despite only 20 seconds being remaining, they were happy to make the rotate over towards the B side, and it paid off huge for them.
Exactly.
Heading into this last round in the half, though, it does seem like A is going to be where they're executing, and no fakes or anything really coming in yet again. Dolph is going to be walking into Alucard's crosshair, and Neri finds a pick of her own onto this A side. Wow, oh my god, that is devastating. Already 3 players gone for the side of W Streak, and now it's just up to Mimi and Yuki to salvage this round somehow, some way. Mimi does manage to get the first pick onto Neri. At least that is going to be in her favor. Yuki has the null command, or well, had the null command, as Neri does get that headshot. It's all up to Mimi. She has to ace this one to get the second round in this half for W Streak female. But it's just a struggle, Matt.
Yeah. Gosh, you have to try. 1 to 10 is the score. 4 guns aimed right at where she's gonna come from. There goes Prowler as well, just to make it even harder for Mimi, as if it wasn't enough. She picks up 1, but that's it. A little bit of a consolation there as we go into the second half. 1 to 11 here, Zach. And who would have thought this would have gone this way after the map veto? And I gotta say, Zach, the biggest difference maker here has been the mid-round adaptation. As you mentioned over and over again, the lurks have been the bane of existence here for W Streaks, and the adaptation just hasn't been enough here for them.
You know, for W Streak, I think Mimi in particular has been so strong. Dolph as well in those first initial rounds, really able to find that first pick. But as it went on, as they started losing more and more rounds, it's just been snowballing for the side of W Streak female. But you know, on a map like Haven, you do see that a lot of the teams, they perform much better on attack. And considering the amount of utility that W Streak have in their pocket, perhaps they might try to at least stage a comeback. You know, we've seen teams come back from 111 before. Ragutan did it against X10, so it is a possibility. I'm not saying it's probable, but it is possible.
Yes.
So just so that the distinction is out there. But you know, in this halftime, what was the biggest thing that really stood out to you from both of these teams?
I mean, really, it's just been the on call, I'm not sure if that's even the proper term, but on the spot call here for Alter Ego Celestè. The quick, they're so quick on thinking on their feet that no matter how or whatever the W Streaks throw at them, they seem to always know what's going to happen right afterwards. And as you mentioned at the start of this half, W Streaks, they're putting up such a good fight until the second half of this half. That even makes sense. And that Alter Ego Celestè seem to have done the classic Alter Ego Celestè, that if they get the momentum, they steamroll with it. And it makes you wonder if going into the second half, where the attacking side is where W Streaks are we going to be seeing the same trend, right? Because in Haven, that's what you can showcase anyway, right? The amount of shots that you pull out on the attacking side, that's where the experience shows. That's why you pick this map, is where you go on the attack. And let's see if W Streaks can pull off the 10-round consecutive win here, just to take us into the even scoreline. But I sure hope they do, because the first quarter of this game showed a lot of potential for them.
Yeah, even though the scoreline doesn't reflect it, some of those rounds were actually pretty close, at least in the beginning. So hopefully they can pull it back. But I think we are going to be heading back into the game pretty soon. So let's see how the second half pans out for both of these teams. 6 seconds left to go. W Streak Female on the attack right now, 1-11. The pressure is mounting up. This is their map pick, remember. So they really are struggling, for lack of a better word. They are starting off with a little bit of a slow default here. Ayumi holding down mid with that headhunter, a terrifying prospect for almost anybody to peek into. And at the end of the day, at least on the onset of this round, it's not going to be contested by W Streak. Instead, they are going in for a little bit of garage control, smoking off the trip, in fact, to try and surprise a C player, and that's going to be Aluka. So let's see if they manage to get the drop on her.
Let's see.
Take this.
Dolph leading the charge here. Gonna be meeting Aluka in a sort of 2v1 fight, but Inari still here inside and asserts her presence! The
Oh,
third
no.
kill with the boom bot is icing on top of this beautiful cake, but they don't find the spike. There's still hope here for Nuki and Mimi, especially with Napsky and Inari being low and their position being unnoted. But Inari is on the hunt. She wants blood here. Slowly creeping up just outside of where these last two players
30
of W
seconds
Streaks
left.
are. And she's gonna come in from behind. They're not expecting this, Zach and Linked.
One
It's
enemy
gonna be
remaining.
so
Spike
painful
down
with this
B.
Inari looking for the ace, and he gets it. 12-1. It's almost too good to be true for Alter Ego. An ace to cap off that 13th round, and they're one away from securing game number 1 here, Zach.
Talk about making a statement, and Neri pops off yet again, gets that ace online, and with that, she's gonna be really terrifyingly close to a showstopper on this particular round. And just like that, Alter Ego are going to be on match point, just one away from stealing this map pick away from W Streak Female. And again, look at the scoreboard here. Both Neri and Aluka absolutely going ham on this particular round. You do see W Streak, they've forced up whatever they can. They have these stingers to work with, but already it's going to be Neri yet again finding first blood off the back of the paint shell slash pull coming in from the Astra. So that combo is going to already net her a kill and completely deter the push coming in onto this A side. W Streak yet again, they're in that unenviable position of trying to figure out what exactly they can do over the course of this mid round here. And so far, they just seem to be stuck. They are regrouping at least towards that A side to see what they can find. Alaria peeking out, gets a second, gets a third as well. Are we going to be seeing a second ace? Is going to be the question here. As she peeks out further, Cupcake is going to deny that, but does get traded out. It's all up to just Mimi yet again in a 1v4 scenario to try and close this round out. She doesn't have the spike either. All four of the Alter Ego players are in fact going to be close to the spike. Mimi finds the first, but it's going to be the headhunter. In fact, hunting the head, and Alter Ego, they're gonna be taking map number 1, 13-1 in a dominating fashion.
Yeah, look at the girls as well. They're so chill about it. It's like just
another day at work.
Yeah, it's just another Saturday afternoon for them, and the queens are back here. Zach, they are up at top form, and I gotta say, I'm loving this new look from Alter Ego Celeste. It definitely shows the amount of prep that comes into the, that came into going into this tournament. And Alter Ego Celeste, they're still undoubted the best team right now. Of course, the next map we're going into is Breeze W Streaks. The run is not done yet. They could still come back here, but after that stellar performance here in Haven, I wonder just how much work it's going to take for W Streaks to come back into this series.
It's definitely going to be a huge debuff to their morale, first of all, because, you know, it was their map pick, like I mentioned. They lost in a very depressing fashion. Like, I don't know, if I lost 1-13, I would be depressed. So, yeah, they're going to have to get that mental reset heading into map number 2, which is Breeze. But hey, it is the map where they have a 100% win streak on. Sure, they've never faced off against Alter Ego, but this is also a map that Alter Ego have lost before, so that's going to
Yeah.
give them at least a little bit of hope heading into this next matchup. But I know everybody knows and loves Eneri, but let's take a look at that scoreboard to see who else stood out on the scoreboard exactly here. And I think I would like to talk about one particular player, which is Aluka.
Mm.
She was able to find so much value for the side of Alter Ego on these constant lurks. Her utility was fantastic, and of course that beautiful clutch that she managed to get against, I believe it was Mimi. It was just fantastic coming in. And looking at the scoreboard here, 23 and 8, and Eri with the 450 ACS.
450.
I think that's her highest, Jen. I don't think I've seen her get more than that.
Absolutely crazy here. I mean, I think this is the first time I've actually seen an ACS of more than 400. Definitely a statement game here for Alter Ego Celeste with an amazing start of the tournament here. And Mimi, well, while she did have the best, or rather the highest ACS here for W Streaks, I feel like the combination of Mimi and Dolph really is what's going to pivot W Streak's success here going into Breeze. I mean, Breeze is such a different map compared to Haven in both senses that it's very very big, and it's also not particularly one of the signature maps here for Alter Ego Celeste. But I gotta say, W Streaks, they will have to stop that momentum from getting into the hands of Alter Ego Celeste, because otherwise this is exactly what's going to happen. Inari is going to pop off, Alaka is going to pop off, and I'm really curious to see what the clutch percentage here for Alter Ego Celeste here for this map. But MVP, without a doubt, is going to Inari. Again, ACS is just absolutely bonkers. 450, Zach. 450! Who does that?
Someone check her PC.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think this is a new record even for Eneri, and of course, I think that this is probably going to be the first ace of this tournament as well. So definitely starting things off with a bang on that raise there. So I'm just really amazed by that performance coming in, especially from Aluka. I think a lot of us were very skeptical as to how exactly she was going to fit into the team dynamic, whether she'd be picking up that duelist or that chamber or whatever other role that she might be taking up. And she stepped into this controller role with absolute aplomb. She's been fantastic over the course of the map, and of course, Eneri and Ayumi, their usual combination,
Yes.
it just paid so much dividends. They're known as the power couple of APAC for a reason, and oof, that was a game.
Exactly. 13-1. That is the game number 1 here between Alter Ego Celeste and W Streaks Female. We'll be back with game number 2 here, so don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. But until then, we're going to have a short break. Datum and Zach here for Game Changers Elite. Welcome back, guys. You're still watching the VCT Game Changers APAC Elite, and this is still the first series of the day. We're still your casters, Datum and Zach here. And Zach, what the heck did we just witness? An absolute statement game from the queens themselves, Alter Ego Celeste.
Yeah, I mean, it had everything that Alter Ego are known for. Eneri getting an ace, check. A dominating scoreline, check. What was a pleasant surprise to me was Alter Ego. Really, I think this was the most that they managed to coordinate as a team, especially with Aluka coming into the mix. Their coordination just seemed to be on such a higher level. Like you mentioned in the onset of this series, Matt, you did say that Alter Ego is a team that's known for really winning out their aim bites and focusing on their firepower and aim fights. But this time around, they're happy to mix that with utility usage as well, and it is looking beautiful so far. If that scoreline was any testament to the amount of prep they've been putting in for Elite, I think we're in for one hell of a tournament. But talking about W Streak here, that first map, it was a washout. Let's be honest about it, right? Heading into Breeze though, what do you think they really need to try and ramp up?
I mean, for starters, I feel like they should keep their composure a little bit more consistently, I would say, because I feel like a lot of what happened in the game number 1 is dictated by just how dominant Alter Ego Celeste were when it comes to keeping their I guess mental fortitude, because you could see it in the first half there. Alter Ego Celeste and W Streaks, they weren't that far off when it comes to the strats, particularly on the defensive side. But when it was consistently getting shut down by Alter Ego Celeste, that's when W Streak started to falter a little bit. They were sort of getting a little bit repetitive, even though it was shown that Alter Ego Celeste could constantly shut it down. They didn't necessarily opt for as much of a creative option as I would like to call it. But I feel like even if they did try, the duels were just absolutely crazy here. Alter Ego Celeste. When it comes to the micro play, it just was on point for them. So I'm not really sure what else they could change. Maybe the agent comp could have been a little bit better. Maybe give Dolph a little bit more leeway towards the fragging side, because I feel like the Neon, even though it's a powerful pick in and of itself, it's a little bit limiting to that potential of that singular player, right? So that could perhaps be key going into Breeze. But what do you think could have been the change here for W Streaks?
I mean, I just felt like a lot of it was it had to do with the fact that they just weren't able to maintain the control of the map that they had. Like right off the bat, you saw them get to a great start. They take a lobby control. They get that first pick so often, but despite having all that going in their favor, they just weren't able to really like switch gears quickly. Alter Ego, you saw how quick they were to rotate to really like make plays around towards the opposite side. And W Streak, it felt like they just were constantly on the back foot. They were trying to catch up, and that was probably a reason why they struggle so much on a back like Haven, which also has 3 sites. But you know, on Breeze, I think that they might have a better shot. They have a very, very successful career on this particular map. They've beaten out X Team Bow, big site than other teams. They have the same agent comp running. But you know, before we discuss their agent comp in detail, I think that the agent select for map number 2, which is Breeze, is good to go. So let's see what both of these teams do have in store for us heading into this particular round. Remember, if W Streak lose this, it is going to be a 2-0 for Alter Ego. They're going to be kicked down to the lower bracket, and Alter Ego, they're going to be moving on. So there's a lot at stake here. You really don't want to miss out. But looking at the agent comps coming in for the side of W Streak female, I think for both these teams, in fact, we might be seeing a possible double duelist. Never mind. Aluka was baiting me with that Reyna, but she's going to take that Viper instead. I'm just a little bit sad about it.
But still a lot of aggression on the side here for both sides actually. We're seeing a mirror comp, double initiator coming to light here with both teams opting for a KO. It seems like we're not going to be seeing a Scream Phoenix signature here in Breeze, but instead we're going to be showcasing the classic KO Sova combination here for both of our squads here. Now, a lot of the success that W Streaks have found in Breeze is, well, their aim duels, right? They have been very, very particular, or rather very, very consistent in winning these aim duels, and they also have a lot of strats, particularly on the attacking side here in Breeze. And I would definitely love to see that showcased once more, should Alter Ego not find the same success that they did here in Haven. Of course, they're going to be starting off on the attacking side here, which is a very good thing for W Streaks. They can showcase just how much they have prepared going up into this matchup, and can't wait to see just how they're going to showcase that with a double initiator comp, which I feel like is very much so up their alley. Alter Ego Celeste, this is remember a kind of new roster with Aluka still figuring out just how well she's going to fit into this matchup, into this team rather. And if Haven was of any indication, I feel like she's fitting in like a glove. But Breeze is a completely different matter. Let's see how W Streaks is going to perform in this one.
I mean, it's gonna be a very, very quick execute onto this A side coming in from these W Streak players. Already Mimi finding that first pick onto Inari is huge there, does a lot of damage to Napski as well before finally being shut down. So even though that's a 1-for-1, it is still going to be a lot of damage being brought by Mimi off the bat. They also do have this B side completely for free, so they should be, if they can run down the timer, that is going to be the pistol at least going in their favor. It is going to be Nuki playing this dangerously upfront angle here with the help of the Viper wall. She is going to be trying to reposition herself. I don't think she got spotted. Oh, never mind. She didn't get spotted. It's going to be taken out. Dolph does manage to pick up a trade, though. In fact, it's all down to just Aluka here. This 1v2 goes with the classic, tries to get the right click, but it's just not going to connect. As Cupcake says, there can only be one Viper left standing, and that's going to be me. And just like that, W Streak start things off on a good note with that beautiful pistol. But I'm very surprised that Alter Ego just gave up the B side just like that.
Yeah. It's very, very good start here for W Streaks, more so because this is the very first pistol that they win in the series, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that's a huge momentum stopper already for Alter Ego Celeste here, and definitely a good note to kick off here in their own map pick. As I mentioned, it was a little bit of a surprising note that Alter Ego Celeste did give away that B side. Seemingly they will be doing the same thing here in A, not really getting the read right off, but here we go. Alter Ego Celeste. They're gonna go for the 5-on-5 retake instead, with only a Marshall on Anari's hands and a couple of upgraded pistols. Maybe no, just Iceberg actually on the frenzy. So
Spike planted.
yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to be able to pull this off, but it really is. There's a lot riding on Anari's Marshall here. Rayumi gonna fall down first here. Mimi taking care of that enemy chamber. Coming in from both angles as they do get shut down one by one. Noxy good for two. A lookout will be going for one trade. But yeah, that's it. 3K for Noxy. Quick second round here for W Streaks, and it's already such a contrast to how Haven started here, Zach. Already round number 2. If this is any indication of how Breeze is going to go, we might be in it for a long series here, Zach.
We might indeed, and this is really good for W Streak because it seems like they were just taken a little bit aback, perhaps. So you do need to remember that neither of these teams have played against each other before. W Streak and Alter Ego, this is going to be their first confrontation, and perhaps W Streak, they just needed that one game to take the measure of their opponents, and now that they have it, they are striking back as best as they can. This time around in this bonus, they are in fact going to be investing quite a bit. They're going to be having 3 rifles on board. So 4, in fact, if you can include the one that they purchased during the last round. Mimi had it, taking it forward, but this aggression from Alter Ego yet again, and Aries gonna spot out at least 2 players, but a rare miss comes in from her. However, Iceberg is there to trade it out. Despite the fact, though, it is going to be the B side left open with the exception of Nasky. Oh no, who pulls out her knife at the worst time possible. It's going to leave just 2 remaining Alter Ego players here. Both Iceberg and Neri, they know the position of at least one of these W Streak players, but that is going to be it right now. The drone not really gonna spot out much either. And Neri though does spot out Cupcake and will take her down just as the spike goes down. So it's going to be a 2v2 retake right now. They know the position of the Sova. I think Neri did see the drone coming through. The spike is gonna be tapped for some information, and the peek comes through off the back of that. Iceberg cleans it up. 3 on the round for her, and Alter Ego, they find their first in this particular map, but it got way closer than it should have with that investment from W Streak, and I genuinely think it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the more underrated things about Alter Ego Celeste, is that their clutch percentage, if I could even call it that, or rather winning the round with a numbers deficit, is definitely up there. I mean, Alter Ego Celeste, remember, this round they started off with a 2v3, and W Streak started off amazingly, but Iceberg, spotlight moments, 1 kill, or rather 1 orb away from getting that Hunter's Fury, and even though the guns doesn't really necessarily pan out in their favor this time, they're going in for a push down in halls. And this might be the last thing W Streaks might expect, but again, look, the read is not really the best. Alter Ego Celeste here, because side take is happening on the other side of the map. And Inari with a quick opening frag. Mimi is shut down, so that gives them a good idea of where the members of the Alter Ego Celeste are going to come from. But Viper Spits, of course, gonna make it so much harder for Alter Ego to push up here in B.
Yeah, already at a map disadvantage. Dolpho is waiting to equalize. It does get 1, but immediately gets shut down. Napsky with the Sheriff trying to do some damage into the Viper's Pit, but is not going to really be able to find anything, even though the man or the women advantage is with Alter Ego. That Viper's Pit is going to complicate matters horribly right now, and the clock is still ticking, making things worse. Noxy finds the head of Aluka, and it seems like there's going to be almost no time left for the defuse. Ayumi tries to stick him. A Cupcake is going to be ready for the peak. She gets 1, she gets 2, and that's going to be W Streak off the back of that, finding 3. What a round it was. That Viper Spit came in huge there for the side of the players, and just like that, they're able to convert it. Despite this first pick going in favor of Alter Ego, it's still amazing that W Streak were able to hold on to the site and it's just a really insane round coming into them. However, though, they did lose all of their players to the spike, so I'm not sure what exactly their economy is going to look like heading to this particular round. They are going to be able to scrape together a buy, but it's going to be 2 players on light armor and a bulldog as well. But then again, they're going up against a full eco coming in from Alter Ego, who don't really have that Tour de Force or that Blade Storm to work with.
Couple of ults available though, so should be a doable round as long as they pick up a frag or 2. As I mentioned, W Streaks have a huge firepower advantage, and they're paying the first for it. Plant now coming in a side. They've spotted out Alaka, and yeah, there's not really a lot of resistance that Alter Ego Celeste could put up. And again, this is what happens when you keep Alter Ego Celeste down, right? When they don't get the momentum, that's where they really start to struggle getting back into the game. And the W Streaks picking up their first flawless here means that it really is starting to happen here for Alter Ego Celeste. The momentum has completely shifted over to W Streaks. I mean, granted, the guns were not there, right? But it's certainly a very, very different look from Haven, where it was a completely different story, to say the least. The W Streaks, 3 ults to their name, the Null Command and the Hunter's Fury being 2 of those. But job is certainly not done here. Ayumi on the operator looking to make it big. This could be the tide turner for Alter Ego.
I mean, it would have to be, because otherwise they're running the risk of letting W Streak really get too many rounds on the board. Noxie this time around coming in towards mid is not going to be able to find the same value she's usually noted for. The Hunter's Fury is going to be invested as well to push Iceberg off the angle. They managed to take down Ayumi as well in the process, and that's going to open up the A side completely. Beautiful shots from Yuki as she managed to shut down Ineri, as well as Ayumi. The 2-star players for Alter Ego are going to be down, and the A side has been taken. And in this 2v4 situation where Aluka is just 5 HP, they might just choose to save these weapons because they have no economy.
Exactly.
They don't have anything that they can really try to do to bring this round back, and they're just going to cut their losses and do their best to hold onto whatever they have and possibly try to carry them into the next round. But like you mentioned, Matt, in the previous round, this is a W streak that we've been expecting to see. You know, they qualified last, but they qualified almost flawlessly. They only lost 1 series during the LCQ.
Exactly.
And it was just a beautiful finish from start to end. I think their final game was a 3-0, in fact, in their best of 5 that had to qualify. So they've definitely been able to show that they are a team to watch out for. And finally, in this particular map, we're seeing exactly why. That round did, however, take a lot of commitment from the side of the players of W Streak. They used about 3 ultimates, if I'm not wrong. The Hunter's Fury, the Null Command, okay, just 2, sorry. Yeah, they used 2 of their ultimates. And heading into this particular one, they Alter Ego, they still are going to be able to buy in of a sort, because they are going to have those 2 rifles that they saved, and they're going to have the Blade Storm as well as that Tour de Force. So this timeout is great for 2 reasons. Number 1, it breaks the momentum of the W Streak players, and more than that, it lets them figure out what exactly they're doing. For one thing, I would be questioning why I'm leaving the B side for free for so often.
Yeah, and I feel like part of it is because they're expecting these set plays for W Streaks to come out, right? But the thing is, they just aren't getting the timing quite off. They aren't getting the read quite off, and that's kudos to W Streaks for being a little bit unpredictable, I guess. But Alter Ego Celeste, as I mentioned, this time out couldn't have come at a better time. Tour de Force and Blades are available, so off the back of that buy round loss, they should be able to pull off a pretty good eco here in round number 7. So I wonder what Alter Ego Celeste have in the bank here. Really a drastic change here in defense is due. And it seems like they're exactly going to be going for that. A lot of mid presence asserted. And this time, actually, they are going to be leaving A side again wide open. But it's a little bit more comfortable here with Ineri picking up the first frag. That mid control certainly paying off now. The knife, of course, will not be spotting out anyone. But just goes another kill in trade. Mimi picks up Ayumi, so it's back to square one for Alter Ego Celeste here.
Yeah, it was a 1-for-1 like you mentioned, but Ineri is still standing. She still has that Blaze Storm, and we've seen her go absolutely ballistic with this particular ultimate. So I wouldn't count Alter Ego out just yet in this particular round. Looking at the map control though, for the side of these players from W Streak, they don't really have any of that. There is going to be Noxy holding down mid, possibly trying to catch off some kind of a rotation, but towards this A side, there are still going to be two players towards the back. Both Aluka and Iceberg are lying in wait for a possible A execute coming in here. Aluka also does have that wall ready to go for a
Uh-oh.
possible retake, and off the
30
back of that, she
seconds
is going to be able to find that first pick onto Cupcake. That's going to be the Viper utility taken down, and it's going to make matters so much more difficult right now for the side of W Streak female. Look at this as well. Ineri is going to be on the lurk here. Spots out one, tries to connect the Blade Storm, does get that last blade in place, and with 13 seconds left on the round and 2 players left, what exactly can W Streak really do here? It's going to be the question, and Noxy, she's not going to have time to find the spike. She doesn't have time to get the kills either, and Alter Ego, they get this round back after a long time, 2-5, something that they really needed, but again, it got too close for comfort.
Yeah. That round got turned around. Very reminiscent of what was happening a lot in Haven. But Alter Ego Celeste, as you mentioned, they finally are back on the board 2-5 here. And W Streaks, their eco is still looking pretty good, but they are going to pulling off the timeout here early. And this is very, very good in my opinion, because they could essentially minimize, rather stem the bleeding before it gets worse. Because Alter Ego Celeste, they gotta be feeling pretty good about that last round win, and they have certainly scraped up enough to reinforce that in the form of guns. They're putting Ayumi back on the operator, who hasn't particularly found as much success as she did in Haven. So that could be the key here for W Streaks, right? Shut down Chamber, and then the defense sort of crumbles a little bit here. But this time, it's a little bit different to the last time that Yumi picked up the op, because they don't really have those big ults that they used to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna complicate things, and this time around, it's gonna be the timeout kicking in for W Streak, and even though they're in the lead, I think they want to figure out how exactly, because that round was in their grasp. If they had a little bit more time, and if they had sussed out the fact that Aluka was towards the backside instead of just try picking it, it might have completely changed the dynamic of the round. So they want to make sure that they don't make any more mistakes to let Alter Ego capitalize off of it. It is going to be the Viper Spit invested right off the back towards A and towards B. Oh no, Ayumi has a shot, but somehow it goes wide, and that is going to leave push her off the angle and leave this B side much more difficult to get into here. They already know that there are two players ready to go. Ineri though, she's gonna be playing here with the help of the null command, doesn't get spotted out either, so she's gonna be able to dash right into Noxy's face, getting two already. This is Ineri that we're used to, and we're finally gonna be seeing her again. Just like that, the execute is completely shut down here. Iceberg, a little bit of an awkward interaction towards the mid, but it's still able to find one before being taken down. It's all up to just Muki and Dolph here. Nuki though going huge, finding two already before Ineri finally shuts her down. It's all up to Dolph in this 1v3. Gets the first, gets the second as well. This is suddenly very doable, except Aluka says no. It's not happening. No.
Gets the spike as well. Let's take a look at this play from Inari again. Beautiful double kill. Dips back a third time to get a 3k. But from there on, that is actually so much closer than I thought it was going to be off the back of that play from Inari. That's mostly because Dolph popped up as well.
I have the spike.
But still so close between these two teams here, Zach. A game in our hands. And so far, nobody's coming out on top. I mean, for sure, W Streaks have been ahead for the most part, but they haven't really been able to consistently show that they are on top. Now, ult available for Noxy. Knife comes out for both of these players. Snobsky shuts down Noxy. That's an amazing start for Alter Ego Celeste, but work is not done. Tour de Force is available for Mimi should she choose to use it, but Inari from behind, and suddenly double streaks down to 3.
Yeah, Alter Ego seem to have finally gotten some coffee. They've gotten their breakfast. They're feeling themselves. They took a little bit of a breather after Haven, but they're back in their usual shape here. they have also started reinforcing that B side, which is
Yeah.
quite nice. Inari on the lurk though, spots out Mimi. There's a little bit of an awkward gun interaction. She has to fight 3 players now, and that's too much even for somebody with 430 ACS in the last game. She is going to unfortunately go down, but she's gotten so much valuable information for Alter Ego. She knows the position of all of these 3 remaining players for W Streak, and they're still hanging around towards that B area and towards elbows. So at least that is going to be something that Alter Ego can work with. With 30 seconds left on the clock,
30
they have to
seconds
go
left.
somewhere, and it seems like that is going to be this B side yet again, where Ayumi is lying in wait with the operator. However, Dolph yet again manages to find a pristine headshot, and suddenly what looked like a round where Alter Ego had all the cards heading into it, it swings back into the favor of
Spike
W
down,
Streak.
B.
Napsky finds
10
one.
seconds left.
However, it is going to be Dolph trying to hunt her down and keep her from aggressing forward. Gets
What?
a pick as well. All right, Dolph. Okay, you've made your point. 2 players left on either side right now. Aluka spots out Dolph, does a little bit of damage to her, and Dolph is getting pincered right now between Iceberg and
standing.
Ayumi.
Dolph.
Dolph with 4 though, with help from the teammate. It's all up to just Aluka here. She's done so
enemy
much for
remaining.
Alter Ego. Gets 1, isolates the fight. Can she get the second? No, Mimi's gonna be able to connect a shot with 30 HP left. W Streak pull off a 3v5 and a beautiful round coming in from them. Oh my.
Well, for both teams, for that matter. Inari starting it off amazingly, but a great recovery here from W Streaks. Dolph again with a phenomenal performance. Look at that shot. Just barely sees the head.
Spike down.
Still
B.
gets the headshot. And again, it comes down to the wire. It comes down to the last man here between these 2 teams. Mimi with the widest swing of her life to cap things off, but and
In this round though, it does seem like W Streak, they are taking it a little bit more slowly, with the exception of Mimi, who's walked her way just down halls. Oh, never mind, she does get checked by the drone. It is gonna be
A.
Inari though, who finds that first blood. It's an eco for Alter Ego, and they're just doing their best to get as much value as possible. Nuki, though, she's gonna be taking out that blaze drone. That's the main weapon in the arsenal for these AECO players, and they no longer have that going. With the Sheriff, it is gonna be
Okay.
Natsuki who finds 1. At least there's going to be a little bit of economic damage for W Streak, but they have money for days, and despite going down this diffuse, it's going to be very difficult to get. The lineup doesn't quite connect either, so Napsky is going to be forced to manually clear this. Nuki with the flash ready to go, tries to swing off of it, but Napsky stays alive somehow. Gets a shot as well. All right, it's all down to just Iceberg here, who's sticking it. She gets half. Can she get the whole thing? No way! Oh, thank you. It is going to be Mimi who peaks at the right time. For a second, I genuinely thought that she had it. But yeah, it is going to be W Streak winning out that round as expected. But at least Alter Ego, they made it expected, right? They also managed to bait that Hunter's Fury out. So that's going to be definitely something in their favor.
porting out the Hunter's Fury, just a little bit of an inconvenience there for W Streaks, but still managing to secure the round for themselves, secure the anti-eco. And back to the operator, Ayumi goes, but as I said, Ayumi unable to translate that in the past couple of times, so this time really is a pivotal operator. But look at the change up from Alter Ego Celeste. This time mid is up and open. Mimi though waiting for the push. Instantly getting traded out off the back of that 1 kill, but it does leave Aluka down to 1 HP. 5, literally. So it does call upon the rotate into a site. She's going to be playing very, very back just to keep that utility on board here for the Viper. Naturally, W Cheeks can strike here in a site should they choose to do so. They have a lot of utility to their side. Null Command is available. So is Cupcake's Viper's Pit. So the post plant here looking very, very good for W Streaks.
Definitely. Again, all of these players from Alter Ego, they've completely pulled back to the spawn. They're just going to be playing for a possible retake, I believe, and it is going to be the case here. The execute does come in, like you mentioned, Matt, off the back of that null command being invested in. The plant goes down as well, and I'm curious to see whether they're going to be investing the Viper's Pit as well. Yes, they are. They are risking things. They want to really capitalize on the lead that they've slowly but surely built up, and just like that, Alter Ego, they're going to be left in this 4v4 retake. They're not going to give up, though. They're going to be popping their own null command. Napski with her ult does try to proceed forward here. That's going to shut down the so possibly for backstab as well, but it's not gonna matter because the chamber is dead, and more than that, Dolph is just waiting, watching the angle. The clock is still ticking right now. Napski finds one onto Noxy somehow. Incredibly dirty shot there, but with the clock ticking so much, I don't think there's gonna be any time left to defuse a spike, especially considering how close Cupcake is playing. At this juncture, it seems like Ayumi is just gonna be like, you know what, guys, we tried. I want this operator. We don't really have the economy to buy another one in this last round, so all good. But yeah, just like that W streak, they put up an intimidating lead here. 8-3, and honestly, looking at how these rounds are playing out, looking at the economy for Alter Ego, it might even be a 9-3.
Absolutely. W streaks finding a second rhythm as we go into Breeze. Their map, their home for all reasons. This is a map where they absolutely find that comfort of, well,
You want to play?
just
Let's play.
being the aggressor. They turn things around essentially here in this map, seemingly out of nowhere. 8-3, as you said, is a position that Alter Ego Celeste rarely find themselves in. And we've said it earlier, Zach, that if we go into map number 3, that's where things get a little bit shaky for Alter Ego Celeste. I mean, statistics-wise, at least, because Breeze, even though it's not their best map, it's still better. I mean, numbers-wise, compared to Ascent. So, this is where things are so much scarier for Alter Ego Celeste than was the entirety of this series. Which is why the darndest to try and keep hold of this mid side where they found so much of that 3-round success, but Harry going down means it's gonna be so much harder to bounce back. I think Ayumi and Iceberg are good for one, so suddenly things are turned around.
Take flight.
W streak's not even in sight yet. The Viper's walls are available for both sides, but W streaks are already inside. The recon is gonna be a massive headache. Iceberg getting pummeled by all this utility. Gonna be a 4-on-3 retake, but this is a spot that W streaks have found themselves over and over again, finding so much success. So Cupcake from around the corner. Iceberg picks up one. Napski good for another, and the retake seemingly done and dusted as Ayumi puts the final nail in the coffin. There you have it. Alter Ego Celeste denying it the 9-3 instead. 4-8 here on the first half. And I gotta say, Zach, this is a completely different look from Haven. The mid-round calls that we were criticizing W streaks off in Haven, it's completely gone. In fact, they're actually making better mid-round calls this time around against Alter Ego. And I feel like that really showcases just how different W streaks are in this map compared to Haven. They are looking very much on par with Alter Ego, even ahead of Alter Ego here in Breeze.
Yeah, that they are definitely ahead. At least numerically, they they do have way more rounds on board. But 8-4, it's an intimidating scoreline, all right. But you gotta consider that it was defense coming in for Alter Ego, and it's a very different defense from what we're used to really seeing from them. So many of the rounds, they were happy to just leave one side open for retake. And the problem with playing for a retake is that most of those rounds, the Viper's Pit was online for Cupcake, so that made it so much more difficult for them to really pull it off there. They did manage to pull together a few successful rounds, though, off the back of Iceberg in particular going huge on this particular map. So at least that is going to be something to look forward to. But the thing is, on Breeze for Alter Ego, their win rate on defense is actually higher than what they usually have on attack. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can actually manage to stagger together an attack heading into this particular one. As for W streaks, though, it is going to be a very balanced map for them. They're equally good at attack and back-end defense. And if W Streak can manage to hold together against the onslaught that is Alter Ego Celestè, we are going to be looking at a map 3. And you know, I personally think that Alter Ego, they can still pull this back, but so far they've just been looking very lost. And unless they use this halftime to like really regroup and figure out what exactly they can do to pull this back, a good start would be winning that pistol, for example. But yeah, unless they do that, it's looking like we're heading to map 3.
Absolutely. The key here for Alter Ego Celeste is that proactivity, right? I feel like a lot of what happened in the first half was Alter Ego Celeste trying to be proactive, but not really getting the right timing against W Streaks here. So in the attacking side, they certainly have the avenue of being the proactive aggressor here because, well, they have to. They're going on the attacking side. Now, I'm excited to see the defense here for W Streaks because remember, this is their map pick. It's kind of expected that they have a lot in the playbook attacking wise, and in the defense, this is where the challenge really arises, especially against a team that is so good on the attack.
Yeah, I mean, I know the wave they've been playing. It seems like it's their map pick, and it's definitely their best map. But this is, you need to remember, this is actually Alter Ego's pick, and yeah, I'm just genuinely, it's all good. I would be confused to looking at how they're playing, honestly. So anyway, though, heading into this particular pistol round, the stakes are high for Alter Ego, and Neri walking into the crosshairs of Mimi does take a bullet, but will stay alive as Mimi chooses not to risk engaging with more than one player. Dolph with the jumpy will spot out Aluka as well, I believe, towards mid, and now Mimi's got to be coming in to reinforce that backup. They still with 1 minute left on the clock. Alter Ego, they're just testing out areas of the map to see where exactly they can go, though it seems like B is going to be where the eventual hit is coming, looking at the position of the spike and everything else. But it seems like W Streak, they have a read on this because there are going to be 3 players playing towards this B side. Dolph is going to be the first point of contact here. The recon bolts will be invested to figure out these players. Gets the first pick, but the immediate trades are quick and things are back down to a 3v3 here. Aluka towards mid as well is going to be calling for the rotate, and it's a great call because the A side is completely abandoned. There's nobody to even catch this rotation because mid is completely clear. Iceberg does use the wall to cross over, but that should give the game away that Alter Ego are in fact going in for this A execute, and this is beautiful. They're going to be pushing in further towards the CT area, trying to get more picks. Beautiful shot dart is going to do a lot of damage to Noxy as well, and Aluka spots out the first player, connects the headshot. 2 left to find for Alter Ego to close this round out. Make that 1. It's all down to just Copy Cake. Doesn't have any utility really to work with because she's already committed the wall as well. She's gonna have to win out all of these gunfights. Spots out Iceberg's shoulder. Doesn't know where the remaining players are playing. Spots out the first one. Does a lot of damage to a Yubi, but runs out of bullets before the kill can be completed. And Alter Ego, they get that first pistol and are on track to stabilize.
Yeah, that's already a completely different look from the entirety of this game. As we said, Alter Ego Celeste, when they go to the attacking side, that's really where they seemingly shine in this particular matchup. And that mid-round call to go for the A site rotate after actually a decent interaction, a decent trade in B site, completely turned things around against W Streaks. They weren't expecting them to commit to that A site rotate. That ultimately led to, well, Alter Ego Celeste securing the 3rd pistol of the day. That's actually going to make it so much easier for them to even out the scoreline here. And Neri, gets tagged down by Dolph, but still wins the duel because of the economy difference. Looking to find a second as Cupcake goes down. The Nuki trying to shut her down, but the headshot's gonna be enough. And Neri goes down. That's an upgrade for Nuki. So that might change things up. Nope, Yumi shuts her down. It's gonna be the plant here, 4v2, Zach.
I think you jinxed it, Matt. The moment you call the upgrade, she immediately goes down. But yes, Matt proving that he does have the caster's curse genes. Soon, this man is going to be jinxing VCT all around. But that's way in the future. Looking at this particular one, though, it is going to be the last 2 players from W Streak trying to at least salvage what they can from this round, which is to do a little bit of economic damage. However, this crossfire being held between Aluka as well as Iceberg is going to make things very difficult. Noxy is the last player left. goes for the peak, but Aluka is ready to take her down, and that is going to be an almost flawless round for the side of Alter Ego. They do lose Eneri and her Marshall, but all things considered, I think that it is going to be a pretty clean round, especially considering the value that Eneri was able to find with those 2 kills that she got opening up the B sites. So I think that that round is definitely something that Alter Ego should be happy about, but I'm curious to see what kind of buy we're going to be having heading into this particular one. W Streak, they also take a timeout
Wow.
because this is going to be their full buy kicking in, and they really don't want to let Alter Ego come back. 4-8, it's a big lead. 6-8, not so much. And if Alter Ego are able to somehow convert this bonus, they're looking at an equalizer. And W Streak, they know what happens when you let Alter Ego get that momentum, so they're just making sure that they have their battle plan ready to go, and they're not gonna really like let Alter Ego run away with it again.
Yeah, preemptive timeout here for W Streaks, calling for the early adjustment into the second half. Really just to stem this momentum from Alter Ego Celeste, because you would expect in typically in round number 3s, there are certain strategies that these teams have already panned out for the anti-eco, but is it going to be the eco for Alter Ego Celeste? That is what's the guessing game right now, or the question for W Streaks. It seems like it's not, because it's gonna be a half buy here with Ayumi on the hero buy. So W Streaks really have to be careful where they tread in this particular round, and that's exactly what they're doing. Reserved angles for all of them. And the early wall down in A side is an indicator of where Alter Ego Celeste want to hit. And they are turning up the tempo here, Zach. W Streaks gonna be giving away the site this time around, so it's gonna have to be the retake here for the full gunned up squad. And Eneri up close and personal. Is she gonna be able to pick up the trade? She does! Looking for a second now as she peeks up against a couple more members here for W Streaks. Playing around with the smokes. Okay, no dash to boot anymore, no cloud burst either, but look at the timing! Is she gonna be able to find these kills? The headshot is there, but Nuki with a better gun shuts Eneri down. But still a retake in the works for W Streaks. Low health bars for Noxy and Nuki, so job is not really the easiest here. Cloudburst is buying them so much time, but look at the reassertion from Alter Ego Celeste. Are they gonna be closing this one out? Yes, seemingly they will. 2v1, and Dolph is just running for the hills. Alter Ego, the timeout was not enough, and Alter Ego one away from evening out the scoreline.
A beautiful round coming in, and I like that Eneri, despite knowing that she had only 4 bullets, she didn't go into the reload at all. She was happy to try and just do as much damage as she could with the classics. But what really won Alter Ego this round, despite them only having 3 players to the 4 from W Streak, is their rotation. They just took all the way a long walk back through mid towards the A side to like reposition themselves, and it worked out beautifully. W Streak were not expecting it at all. And talking about W Streak this time around, all they're gonna be having in their arsenal is that Vandal, which Dolph held onto from last time. In fact, Dolph isn't going to even have armor to work with. All she does have in her pocket is that rifle, a Spectre from Yuki as well, but apart from that, it's a very broken buy coming in for the side of W Streak. On the other side, though, Ayumi,
Dolph.
she's dropped that Vandal and picked up the Operator. Talk about upgrades.
Dolph has to make a huge round here. Oh. Barely surviving that encounter. Noxy with 11 HP, but does spot out only one member, I believe. They really have no clue that there's 2 people here and there with the wallbang. And maybe emerges from that toxin cloud. Really have no clue that she's coming in from the door. That's a good trade, but still 1 member less than what Alter Ego Celeste have. Key thing here is W Streaks, they still have that Vandal on Dolph. Nuki has got a Spectre to play with as well, but the retake is not really the easiest things to do, especially with 2 men and playing against an Operator. So okay, Nuki found an upgrade for herself and found a kill as well. That's the Op player. So suddenly there's a threat here. Aluka has yet to commit the Viper Spit, and I don't think they're gonna be committing that anytime soon either. Okay, Nuki going down means that Dolph has got a 1v2 situation in her hands. That's it. Unable to find any more damage, but Alter Ego Celeste 8-8 now. They equalize. They get the op back into their hands, and W Streaks. Oh man, the pressure is on now, Zach.
I mean, I remember, I don't remember who Alter Ego was playing against, but I remember watching them play on this particular map, and they were down like 6-12 or something, and they came back to take it to overtime and win it. One of the most phenomenal performances I've seen, and this looks like it's going to be a slightly less exciting repeat of it, looking at how they are shaping up on this attacking half so far. This time around, it is going to be the full buy for both of these teams, and Neri, to top things off, will have not only the Guardian, but also that Bladestorm invested into this particular round. It seems like it is going to be committed towards this B area instead. Dolph with the drone is going to try and smoke out anybody towards mid, as well as Elbow will spot out Napsky. So Dolph knows that there is a lot of pressure being applied towards the mid and elbow area right now, but she doesn't know exactly how many are there. She spotted out just the drone as well as Napsky. So to her knowledge, there could be anywhere between 2 to 5 players on these areas of the map, and that does seem to be the par for course here. The execute is going to be coming in with with the rare whip from Inari. It is going to be coming in from the elbow towards this B side. Napsky does get the trade, but suddenly things are looking, the execute completely stops in its tracks after Inari goes on, and that Viper wall is committed to boot. So it's going to make things very difficult right now. With that amount of pressure and noise that has been created towards this A side, it seems like Alter Ego, they're considering rotating, or sorry, on the B side, they're rotating over to the A instead. But there is going to be Cupcake waiting on the back side there.
Yeah, you have the knock command available, and Viper's wall has yet to come out from Cupcake, potentially saving it for the retake. And here comes the recon, signaling to her that she's about to be at the receiving end of things. And here comes the Viper spit from Aluka. That's certainly going to be an indicator that this is where Alter Ego Celeste want to hit. And wow, a couple of nice shots from Noxy, unable to take down her target, but a little bit of damage done, certainly going to help in this regard. Nuki goes down. So that's the W streaks. No command going out for the count. Cupcake starts off strong, but Aluka still alive and kicking in the pit. They will be able to get the res off, but look at the setup from the last two members of Alter Ego. Aluka picks one up. Iceberg with the lineup, and the recon bolt. It gets denied, but they still win the round. What a hold from Iceberg and Aluka. Alter Ego Celeste started off pretty shakily, but again, the call to rotate, the ult, and the steadfast presence here from the last two members, Alter Ego Celeste. They seemingly back on form here. 9-8 and W streaks forced to another eco, Zach.
Things are yet again falling apart for W Streak despite their strong start, and the main factor, that last round, it could have gone in their favor, but yet again, that Viper's Pit that W Streak found so much success with, it is going to be the same case for Alter Ego as well. Aluka and Iceberg pull off a 2v4 to take the lead for Alter Ego for the first time really in this map, and that's just really exciting to see. They finally managed to find their footing on this particular map. Nuki playing a bit of an aggressive angle is going to be caught out in the open though with that beautiful flash. With the help of that, they get their first two picks towards this B side, and Alter Ego have it open right now. Mimi is going to be the last bastion of defense with that headhunter, is going to be watching the angle, but the flash, it might enable an area to possibly swing off of it. I think that she has spotted out the headhunter, and she's not going to risk really like messing up, but Mimi is not afraid. She pushes forward, denies the plant. Noxy as well finding one somehow. That is going to make things very difficult for Alter Ego. It's all down to just these two remaining players. Mimi doesn't really connect her shot, but Noxy does. Oh,
Time ran out.
No,
No,
she got the trade.
players
Ayumi
ran
got
out,
the
I
trade.
mean.
Yes, as you said it, the players do run out, and yeah, Ayumi does close out the round successfully,
Wow.
but it actually got really dangerous there for Alter Ego. And look at this buy for W Streak. They're gonna be investing in not one, but two operators. Two.
They're at this point, anything they can do to perhaps just slow down Alter Ego, at least
You want to play? Let's
keep them at bay. The operator's gonna be enough though, because for the most part, seemingly nothing has been enough to shut down Alter Ego, who, by the way, have won every single round as they go onto the attacking side here. Got the Tour de Force active for Mimi. So Actually, not Mimi, but Ayumi. So yeah, the slow round in the works here for both sides as Alter Ego Celeste's calculating whether they should commit to this A side push. Comes the Viper's wall. Mimi about to receive all this aggression, and Neri shuts down Noxy, so it's all down to Mimi to keep this anchor in the site. Does get detected by the knife, doesn't get the shot quite in, and then Neri does! Ayumi picks one up as well, and that's a site wide open here. The last threat in the site actually is Nuki. But look at her position. Where can she go here? The moment she steps out of this door, Aluka is right there waiting for the shutdown. And it's all down to Cupcake now with Nuki going down and Neri with the 3K flawless. And they've done it again. Alter Ego Celeste making a clean round against a double up here, Zach. As I said, the up, it wasn't enough. The double up.
I feel really bad for, I think it was Mimi on the site. You know, every time I've seen players pick up operators, they hit the most insane shots but miss out on the people who aren't looking at you at all, time and time again. And that's exactly what happened to poor Mimi. But yeah, the double off purchase, it does not go in their favor. And now there's nothing left in the bank. They do, however, have that tour de force for Mimi, who is going to be posted towards the mid area. The Blade Storm as well is going to be invested by Neri, who is again leading the charge onto this B side. A very quick execute. The right click misses out, and Cupcake is able to get that first blood, though Iceberg is there to regroup and trade it out. So yet again with the Neri going down, it is going to be a bit of a slower positioning, slower play coming in from Alter Ego. Cupcake has managed to pick up that upgrade, which Inari so kindly delivered with that jet dash, a helicopter delivery, so as to speak. Yeah, just like that, they're going to be regrouping towards the A side instead.
Yeah, Alter Ego again with the rotate. As I said, the mid-round calls here have been on point for Alter Ego. And Nuki has yet to find that info. There you go. 3 agents detected means that they're certainly going to call for the rotate now. 30 seconds left means there's not really a lot of, or rather, there's no avenue really for Alter Ego to rotate away from A site. Only thing they have to be careful of now is that one lurking member. It's Cupcake for that matter. Nuki, okay, finds one. Great opener here on the site defense, but the operator, a bigger gun, and Nabsky picks one up as well. Gonna have to get the headshot connecting here for Noxy just to shut down the plant, but it's already a little bit too late for that. Nabsky gotta be careful where she peeks and decides to go the safer route. So Cupcake, Noxy, a massive task at hand here, but they really have to attempt their hand at it because it's against match point. But Nabsky with a disgusting round ender of a shot there as Alter Ego Celeste get themselves to 12.
This game was like 7-2 at one point, Matt, where W Streak were just massively leading, but ever since they switched sides, they've just been struggling to put up any kind of defense against the onslaught coming in from Alter Ego. And you know, despite Inari not looking in her usual clean condition, she is still going to be topping the leaderboards. It's 19 and 19 with 8 assists to her name. The economy as well thriving right now for these Alter Ego players, and this is W Streak's last chance to really make things count here. They do at least have the economy to be able to buy in, and they are going for a bit of an aggressive hold towards this A main area, but Alter Ego, they're not even trying to get into anywhere close to A main. They're going for some mid presence. They also are having a player watching towards that halls area, Ayumi, with I believe that operator is going to be watching for a possible rotation. Though Dov, she's been the biggest X factor in this particular game for W Streak, and she's gonna have to do a lot more work to try and really make this work. The Hunter's Fury being invested from Iceberg is not gonna really find anything, and Cupcake goes unchecked in the backside, gets 2 kills off the back of it, finally gets traded out by Aluka, but at this point the damage is done, and finally after a long time, W Streak, they have the numbers advantage.
Yeah, Hunter's Fury as well to buy them a little bit more time, but doesn't even get the tag off against Iceberg. And there's plenty to go around. In terms of time, I mean. And here comes the 4-on retake. 4v3. No ult available anymore for either side. And look at Alicus' position. They might not be expecting this at all. Iceborg with a beautiful spam. And there you have it. Alicus spots unaccounted for as she goes on in a rampage. The 3K is done. Leaving Mimi all alone, and it's just not enough. Alter Ego, 9 consecutive rounds. And they close the series 2-0.
I know usually I'm happy when I predict things, right? But this time around, I'm actually kind of sad that we're not going to be seeing Ascent coming in, because W Streak, they put up a heroic battle on that second map on Breeze. I think both of us genuinely thought that they had it in them to push through. All they needed after all were 5 more rounds, but on their defense, they just could not hold against Alter Ego. And, you know, so many rounds where they did start off with the advantage. You saw, for example, that 4v2 retake that they were not able to convert. Alter Ego, yet again, I think that the biggest change that I'm seeing in them after they got a coach and their new player is like the discipline coming in on their post plans, and it's just so difficult for the side of W Streak to really get through that. And I think that was the biggest game changer, so as to speak, in this second map.
Yeah, and I gotta highlight the growth here. It's absolutely showing for the whole squad of Alter Ego Celeste. I mean, since we saw them at the start, rather the first quarter of the year, they still are the top contenders. But now even though they've been at the top for so long, they're always constantly adapting, always constantly finding ways to innovate, and it's showing right now at full form. 4-8 it started with that second half, Zach, and they closed the game 13-8, not dropping a single round in that Breeze map. And I feel like that really showcases how well they can adapt on the fly, because most of those rounds that they won, even though they started off a little bit rocky, they always have the mid-round adjustment to answer everything that W Streaks show up against them. And that really is the biggest difference maker in this entire series. I mean, sure, in map 1, they didn't necessarily have to go for that as much as they did in map number 2. But in both cases, it was the difference maker, I would say, between these two teams.
Definitely the case. And let's take a look at the scoreboard. I believe that is going to be coming up, the highlights for this particular map, to see what exactly Alter Ego did right, and W Streak as well. They had their moments for sure. So let's take a look at the highlights and a quick recap of this particular map. Right off the bat, you do see the pistol going in favor of W Streak, with Dolph and Mimi really going huge there. Cupcake as well for the cleanup. And on the attack of W Streak Fabian, they looked phenomenal. Especially, you have to highlight Dolph here. Her aim was just so precise, and just the way she was able to really pull together untenable situations, 2v4s and whatever, and bring them back into order for the side of W Streak. She deserves like a cookie or something. Somebody give that girl a cookie.
And I feel like one of the things that really was holding back W Streaks in this defense, I feel like they gave too much respect for Alter Ego Celeste on the defensive side. I mean, if you could see most of the second half rounds there, when Alter Ego Celeste was constantly denying the mid control from W Streaks, they were never really pushing up anywhere. Anywhere. They were playing very, very conservative angles, and you could see that there was a little bit of, I guess, hesitation from the W Streak squad that you did not see at all coming in at Haven. It was such a contrast to how they played Haven, and I feel like that really is an effect of what happened in Haven, where Alter Ego Celeste was constantly expecting the pushes from them. But I feel like if they changed it up this time, that could have really pivoted their success further from the second half. And I feel like that hesitation was a bigger contributor into this map than it seemingly is on paper. It could have really changed the tides here, could have pushed us into map 3, but didn't happen.
Yeah, it was close though. Like we have to give W Street
That's
credit
true.
here to be able to play against a team like Alter Ego that they've never played against before. For W Street, their roster is formed from the Aresta core, and Aresta have historically never been able to even take a map against Alter Ego. So to go from that to really putting up this kind of a close map, in fact, keeping the lead for so much of the map, it's kudos to W Street to the work they've put in. And you have to remember, this is a roster that is new. They formed like
Exactly.
just before overtime. They played in like 3 or 4 tournaments this year compared to Alter Ego, who's been like a staple of the scene for the last 2.5 years. So considering that, it is definitely W Street who did put up a very decent performance, and it's not over for them either. They do
Exactly.
have that lower bracket to try and come back in.
Exactly. They still are not out of the tournament, folks. You could still see more of W Streaks, but they will be down in the lower brackets. But very, very excited for Alter Ego Celeste from here on out. They will be continuing on into the next stage with the upper bracket run. And I believe after this, we will be interviewing one of the players from W Streaks Esports to sort of get into just what transpired in that series, right? Um, we we will find out more about what transpired between the comms and what happened. And before that, we'll take a look at the scoreboard to see who shined the most in this series, or in this game rather. And of course, it's gonna be Inari, of course.
Of course. This time around, it's a more human ACS, at least human for Neri. She's kind of dropped from 450 to 297, basically 300. And honestly, it's not that she's gotten less kills; it's that she's gotten more deaths. Last game it was 20 and 8. This time it's 19 and 19, and that's probably contributing a little bit to that ACS being lowered as well. But for W Streak, it is going to be Dolph, who absolutely stepped up huge on this particular game. So many impact frags, so many clutches, and just a phenomenal player that we've talked about before how strong she can be. But this is one of the first times that I'm really seeing the pristine aim that she has being put into coordination. And for the rest of the team as well, like Cupcake and Mimi did their part. Cupcake with the utility, Mimi with a lot of these crossfire kills that they were able to pull across, really helped set up W Streak in that first half. But on the attack, Alter Ego just had better planning, better executes, and just their rotations. Like, usually Alter Ego, they're happy to fight it out on site, and they're able to win out these rules, but they're not risking anything in this tournament. They are making sure that they win in the cleanest way possible, and all of these rotation, all of these mid-round calls is just phenomenal coming in for Alter Ego, and they're going to be moving on in the upper bracket. Like you said, Inari, nothing new here, just another day at work for her, is going to be the MVP. 300 ACS this time, 450 the last time around, and almost 4,000 damage in this match.
Yeah.
Whew.
And I feel like the biggest difference between the last game and this game is that Inari wasn't necessarily fragging as much as she did in Haven, but she still finds that space, right? She always finds a way to do her job without necessarily rather performing as well as she did in other cases. And I feel like that's what makes Alter Ego Celeste a completely different beast compared to other teams, is that even though there are surely a lot of spotlight performances from them, but even when there aren't, each and every one of their team members still do their job, still perform, and still accomplish the task that they were tasked to do so. And that's what really makes it work for this particular squad. And I believe we are ready with the interview. Are we ready with the interview here with one of the players? Yes, we will be talking to one of the top, or the MVP of that last game for W Streaks, to Dolph. Hello, how are you feeling?
I'm Mimi. Hello.
Sorry. Yeah. How are you feeling after that series there?
A bit sad that we lost the last map, but overall, it's like I said, Alter Ego Celeste is like the #1 team, right? So, we didn't have much expectation coming into the match, and I think we're not that like devastated that we lost or anything. I think we're just looking towards like the lower bracket run instead.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, if there's anyone to lose to, we'd rather lose to the best, right? I mean, after all, if you want to be the best, you have to play the best. Unfortunately, this time it was Alter Ego Celeste's time.
I mean, considering that it was like your first time playing against this team, I think you guys did really well. Like, sure, Haven it didn't exactly go in your favor. It was a very difficult map. It was your first time, maybe, but on Breeze, you guys looked amazing, especially on defense. But you know, you just weren't able to. I'm sorry, on attack, you just really weren't able to pull together your defensive rounds. So, what happened on on defense there? Like, what do you think went wrong over the course of the map?
Uh, I think on defense we over rotated a lot. I think that's like the key factor that we lost. I think we just lost to ourselves on defense, and I mean Alter Ego Celeste they played very well on like the mid round calls and everything. So we just lost on that part, but you know we're gonna fix this and come back stronger.
That's great to hear, and I really believe it because you know, for your first time play against Alter Ego, for like your first time, really like after you've been playing together as a team for what like 2 months now, being able to put up a score like 13-8, that is phenomenal, especially on a map like Breeze where you guys have like 100% win rate. It's just huge. So at least that is going to be some consolation heading into this lower bracket. But you know, for this tournament, what exactly are your expectations here?
I mean, we talk as a team, like coming into this elite. Like, I mean, they're all like the best teams in APAC, right? So, and then we're just like a team who formed like before LCQ and like a bit of overtime. So we don't really have like that much expectation coming in. Like, we don't expect to win first place or anything. I think what we look forward is just doing our best and then like just defeating the teams that we lost to overtime. I think that's our main goal here. But doing our best is just really what we want the most. Like, we don't expect anything much.
Well, there you have it. Do you have any message to any of the teams that you will potentially be facing in the future, particularly in the lower bracket?
I look forward to playing them because like they're teams that we know, like some of them, and really like familiar teams. So I think it'll be exciting to play them.
Okay, last question before we head off to break here, folks. Any message to the supporters and the viewers who are supporting W Streaks right now?
We're a relatively new team, so thank you so much for supporting us and just tuning into our matches, and we will hopefully see you guys in the lower bracket.
Well,
Thank
there you
you.
have it, Mimi, with the post-match interview here. Before we head on into the second matchup of the day, we'll just be having a short break. We'll steer your casters for today, Daydum and Zach. Thanks so much again, Mimi, for joining us here on the desk, and we will see you guys again in just a bit. So don't go anywhere.